Alright, so, welcome back to another Patreon request, and this one comes from my good friend, the Mount Vernon Kid. And this is another one of the requests he sent me, and this is one I've actually been putting off for a while. Why? Because Chris put me in a spot. As you can see from the title, yes, we're talking about my top 10 favorite anime. So yeah, he has quite literally put me in a bind. He's basically put me on the spot, and I had to put this one off. I was doing other requests for him. You've seen them already, and this is the one I've been pushing away. And yeah, it's been taking me a while to come up with this list, and I've had to write it down. And there were anime. My top 10 anime is always in flux, because here's the thing, guys. I am not I love anime, but I don't seek it out. I don't willingly go out and seek it out. I don't normally go out into the bowels of the internet going, I like that one, or I like this one, and there's thousands of anime. I'm bound to fucking miss one, or 100. So this was actually hard, because the anime I do love, it's really hard to rank. It's really hard to rank. And if you're expecting to see I'm just going to cut to the chase, you're not going to see Dragon Ball Z on this list. It's my top 10 favorite anime, and while I love Dragon Ball Z, and I do credit it for helping me get to anime, it would be, if we were doing top 20, then yeah, but, it didn't make the top, the Big 10. It didn't make the Big 10 cut. I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah, this list on its own was really fucking hard. And even, last minute, I made some changes of how much I like these anime. Because I really had to sit down and think about it. I legit had to sit down and think about how much I love these anime, and how much I really, enjoyed them over a lot of thought went into this list, guys. And for all intents and purposes, this list might actually change in the future. If I do one in the far future, that list may very well change. So, without further, as always, before we go any further, I'd like to preface that this is my list. This is just my personal list. If you think an anime should be higher or lower on the list, or not at all on the list, totally fine. I have no problem with that. I'm always excited to see what is your top 10 favorite anime on here. A couple other rules: there will be no animes based off of IP, so I actually was considering Godzilla Singular Point, but I was like, no, I don't want to do one adapted off an IP, because that's just going to be a whole cavalcade of problems in and of itself. So that was off the table. And I also precluded anime that are based off of video games. I went strictly for manga, for the most part, or original shonen, or original ideas. So that was kind of the other idea. That was the other thing. Yeah. So there were a few prerequisites here and there, but as I said, I'm always excited to see what your top 10 anime are. But without further ado, let's kick it off with number 10. And number 10 is a recent anime, and some of you guys are already gonna roll your eyes, but hey, I really love it. It's My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia was an anime, and I don't talk about this a lot, but there's a reason why I don't talk a lot about major anime that explodes on the internet, like a hentai girl getting hit in the face by Oni-chan's love cream. That's a sentence. I'm awful. Anyway, so shit. Anyway, the reason why I didn't talk about My Hero Academia for a long time, because it was the same reason of why I don't talk about a lot of modern anime, is because it usually gets overhyped, and sometimes I'm just if it's so, I'm not gonna get into it if it's that overhyped. I don't think I'm gonna like it if I don't. That's why it took me so long for to watch Attack on Titan. That's why it took me so long to watch other anime, because everyone and their mother was talking about about that one anime, and I was I'm afraid it won't meet the hype. But when I sat down and finally watched My Hero, I was yeah, this is really good. It's also got some of the best anime fights I've ever seen in animation. Let me rephrase that, in modern day animation. And it's definitely anime that I've been watching fights, and the music composition is great. The fight between Deku and Overhaul, that final fight between Deku and Overhaul, like, it's one of the few times where I'm, like, so emotionally invested in the storyline that I was like, get him, Deku, end it. Like, I'm shouting at the TV, like, as I'm watching this fight play out, and I'm like, that never happened with Dragon Ball Z, that never happened with any other anime, and the characters are so likable. I'm always, as you guys know, obviously, superhero fan. It was definitely, like, yeah, My Hero deserved to be on the list, even if it is at number 10. So, yeah. So moving right along to our number 9, I do have these written down, by the way. Our number 9 is another recent anime in recent years, and that is Space Dandy. Space Dandy is a lot of fun. It was definitely like when Toonami was making a giant comeback, Space Dandy was among the anime, and I always love like fun space adventures, and the idea of like a anime created from the creator of Cowboy Bebop, who made an anime that's literally like, imagine Buck Rogers, but he's a thundering dumbass. And I'm like, awesome, I'm in. And it's literally that. It's actually like, the best way to describe, it's not Buck Rogers, it's more like, Space Dandy is more like Duck Dodgers, but adult. If like Duck Dodgers was written by the creators of Rick and Morty, like that's, oh no, I take that back. It was, not so much Rick and Morty, but more like The Simpsons. If Duck Dodgers was written by the cast of The Simpsons, it's definitely, it's definitely just a bunch of fun humor. It's insane. The animation is great, and the storyline is just one and done adventures until the end. And it has some of the best animation. It's just fun. Like, that's the best thing I could say about Space Dandy, is that it's just fun. I'm always a sucker for a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people get it, that I really love like fun space adventures. Even though I don't read a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy, I always love like fun space adventures, like with characters like Space Ghost or Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon. I'm always a sucker for those, and Space Dandy was like a version of that. It was like an anime version, and also let's make him as an idiot like Duck Dodgers. That's perfect. No, really, it is like an anime Duck Dodgers. But a little more adult. I stand by that comparison. So there's my number 9. Let's move on to number 8. Now, number 8 is an anime from a franchise that I don't put a lot of stock in, and it is based off of a video game. I did kind of bend the rules on this one because I was like, God, I have to put this anime on my list. It is based off of a light novel, of visual novels, so I like had to bend the rules on this one because I had to. It was an anime like I watched and was floored by, and that is Fate Zero. Now, keep in mind, I am not the biggest Fate series guy ever, but Fate Zero was a prequel anime that you could literally just jump into without knowing all the other continuity, and literally just watch that, and you have the whole franchise. It also works as its own anime. Also, real quick, that intro to the anime is a banger. That thing is a straight up banger. But the inter-character relationships, the storyline, the fights, everything in there is nothing short of spectacular. Like I said, you don't really need to watch any of the other Fate stuff. Well, it would help if you watched Fate Stay Night. That's about it. But, you know, people die if they're killed. It's that anime, if you're wondering. But really, Fate Zero could really just work on its own anime, and it's definitely a work of art. It's definitely almost has this Game of Thrones level storytelling, and some of the most lovable characters. Like, if you watch this anime, you're gonna love Iskandar. You're gonna love the King of Conquerors. So, absolutely. This was one I had to bend the rules on because I was like, I gotta have it as in my list. So there you go, my number 8. Number 7, let's move on to lucky number 7, and that is Yu Hakusho. Yes, I know there's a live-action anime. Yes, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to watch it. Simple as that. That's why I know some people were asking, hey, have you heard about the Yu Hakusho live-action thing coming to Netflix? I'm like, oh, good, another thing I get to skip. Yeah, after watching Cowboy Bebop, well, I didn't hate it. I was just bored. Like, that's even worse than being awful. It's just when it's boring. So I was like, between this and Death Note is a thing, like, I'm, like, the thing, because they're having the creators of Stranger Things that's going to do a new version of Death Note, so that's up in the air, but the Adam Wingard movie can go fuck itself for all I fucking care. Getting back to Yu Yu Hakusho, this was one of those anime I watched as a kid. It was one of those essential tentpole animes for me, and even when I dropped off of, like, Dragon Ball Z, or, like, Sailor Moon, or any of those other animes that I grew up with as a tentpole anime, Yu Yu was always there. Like, it was, no matter what, Yu Yu Hakusho was an anime that was always there no matter what. It was just always there, constantly. And it stuck with me, like, no matter what. Yu Yu Hakusho was the one anime that really just stuck with me. There was no doubt about it. The characters were all great. The story of the Spirit Detective and everything else was fantastic. It was all just really fucking good. That's all I could say. It was really fucking good. And no, like I said, don't care about the Netflix stuff, so... there's my thoughts. There's my quick thoughts, everybody. So, let's get to number 6. Now, number 6 is an anime I've talked about profusely on this, because now we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into anime that I really, like, get to really talk about profusely in here. And that, at number 6, is none other than Black Lagoon. You guys already know that I love Black Lagoon. I've sung its praises constantly on here. I have consistently talked about Black Lagoon. It's literally like a Quentin Tarantino anime. Everything about it just screams dark noir. It's so fun to see an anime, because I'm really sick of high school dramas and anime that's set around typical high school student, but he's got funky hair, so you know he's the protagonist who's gonna get all the superpowers. Except you, High School DxD. You're cool. And a few others, you're cool too. There's a few others out there that are cool, and don't judge me on DxD. Shut up. I know most of you watch worse. Anyway. But yeah, this is an anime that I love. It's just hard knocks, straight adrenaline rush, and just absolute badassery. It is just nothing short of, like I said, it is a Quentin Tarantino movie if it was an anime. That's the best way to describe it. And yeah, it's one of those anime no one talks about, but like it's awesome, and I try my best to really like sing its praises as much as I can to get more people to watch it, you know what I mean? Anyway, so let's move on now to our top 5. And excuse me. At number 5, we have Outlaw Star. Outlaw Star was another anime that came from of course, a lot of people would probably figure out that, this is from the Toonami era. As a lot of you guys know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as well, were Toonami era anime fans. It was really just in the DNA. That was really it. It was in the fucking DNA for everyone. Outlaw Star is one of those classic anime that still holds up today. I can go back and watch anime and be like, ooh, man, this was rough. But this is an anime that I can go back to that will consistently be great, if not better, watching it. It was also the inspiration for Firefly, which, I mean, fuck Joss Whedon, and also I think Firefly is just Like, I watched Firefly, and I was just like, I can't, so... Sorry, I'm not the biggest Firefly guy. In fact, at all. Sorry. I tried. I know it's I know it's a weird thing to say, but if you love it, that's fine. Anyway, but getting back to this, is that this is I swear to God, this is the anime that inspired the creative team of Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning to remake the Guardians of the Galaxy, because I shit you not, it's like they probably watched Outlaw Star and then made the Guardians of the Galaxy like that, and then that led the way to the MCU version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I swear that has to be the answer, is that they just were really big fans of Guardians of the Galaxy, of Outlaw Star, and made Guardians of the Galaxy like Outlaw Star. That's the only way I can explain it. Anyway. So yeah, absolutely love Outlaw Star. Let's keep going. Moving on now to my number 4, and this is one that not a lot of people have heard of, and I wish more people would have heard of, but that is Baccano. Baccano is a 16-episode anime that is set on a train called, I'm not kidding, the Flying Pussyfoot. And it's literally a train heist, but there's also, like, immortals and gangsters and death cults. It's insane. It's also has that kind of, like, fun gangster feel to it. Honestly, it's an anime that I've never been, like, subs or dubs. I've always watched dubs. Sorry. I will admit there's not really good dubs out here, but I promise, if you are a sub or dub person, you are going to like the dub of this anime more than the sub, because they speak phonetically, and it's awesome. It's the same reason why I think the Black Lagoon dub is better, because they're all playing different ethnicities, and they all get the characteristics and phonetics of those characters. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that, but anyway, Baccano is a high-stakes, like, fun 16 episode, It's technically 13 episodes, but there's 3 OVA episodes that act as, like, an epilogue piece to the anime. And it's really fun, and it actually has this great ending to it. It's probably one of, if not the best endings in anime I've ever seen in my life. Because, it's literally, like, it's really hard to explain, but the best way I can explain the ending, being just oversimplifying, is that it literally goes, why should there be an ending? And I know that's hard to explain when it only had 16 episodes in total, but it makes way more sense. That ending makes way more sense when you watch the anime. Trust me. It's also it's got some great animation. I love all the characters. Go watch clips of Lad Russo and be like, this is the closest we will ever get to anime Joker. Like, this is the closest we'll ever get to anime version of Joker. There's also, like, just great other great characters. Chane, and of course the fucking Isaac and Miriam. Go watch, just for Isaac and Miriam alone. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, let's move on to my number. So now we've hit the top 3, and at number 3, it's Hellsing. Yeah, Hellsing is another anime I've talked about profusely on here. It's a beautiful anime. It's a great haunting horror anime. Let's be real. The OVA is. I like the original anime. I think the OG anime is good. It is like it has aged poorly, but I think there's like a dark, like, gothic. I still like the gothic feel it was trying to emulate. But yeah, the 10-hour OVA is vastly better. There's no competition. This is one of those anime that, like, people will talk about for ages, and for good reason. Alucard is it's Dracula. It's literally like it's like Hellboy with vampires. How could I? And you guys, for those who don't know, I fucking love Hellboy. I fucking love the Hellboy universe, and Hellsing is literally just Hellboy. Look at the name! Anyway, so moving on to the number 2, and this is going to turn some heads, because number 2 is Cowboy Bebop. I know some people are like, wait a minute, Cowboy Bebop's only number 2? How can that be? This was really hard, because Cowboy Bebop was going to be my number 1 in the pick, but I thought about it and really went back to the other anime that is the number 1, and I really thought about it, and I really gave it a lot of thought, and I was like, that anime does deserve to be my number 1 the more I think about it. But Cowboy Bebop is no short of a masterpiece. It's literally like this is shit you need to watch in film school to understand. One of the best endings ever, one of the best stories ever. It's a major inspiration for that just cyberpunk era, and there is nothing I can say that hasn't already been said about this anime already. But yeah, so let's move on now to my number 1. number 1 is going to be interesting, because number 1 is none other than Tenchi Muyo. And I know what you're already thinking. Tenchi Muyo beat out Cowboy Bebop as your number 1. Well, like I said, this is my list, my rules, and I'm always excited to see what you guys have to say. But the reason why, and again, like I said, Cowboy Bebop was going to be my number 1, but like I said, the more I thought about it, the more I thought about how Tenchi needed to be here more, because even more than Yu Hakusho, even more than any other anime, this anime has stuck with me. This anime, no matter what, has, like, been there. It's an anime I keep going back to. It's an anime that I love all the characters. It's a fucking harem anime. I will admit it. And but at the same time, this was an anime I was more invested in than I was Dragon Ball Z and any other anime that came up on Toonami or Adult Swim. It was a fantastic story. I love, like, I love fun space stuff. It had elements of Star Trek. It was like watching Fantastic Four. Like, I love Fantastic Four, and this anime is literally just Fantastic Four, just a bunch more people. Fun, like, it's fun space opera shit. It's fun, like, cosmic stuff. Literally, Tenchi is a underrated powerhouse. Don't even get me started on Ryoko. Holy shit, she's awesome. Washu, come on. Mihoshi. It was an anime. I fully acknowledge that if you were to say what is the better anime, it's Cowboy Bebop by the country mile. But I just, like, I keep going back, like, I will go back to Cowboy Bebop no matter what, but I will constantly love, because that anime is what got me more into anime more than anything else. Yeah, Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z helped, but, like, what really, the more I thought about it, the more that did it, that put the nail in, was Tenchi. It was Tenchi. And I know that anime is not winning, it is not, like, you know, looking back, it's some of it has aged poorly, but there's a fun there. It can go from a fun comedy to a dark action to almost a horror to even, like, goofy Stanley and Steve Ditko shit in like the drop of a hat. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, just on a personal level, that's my favorite. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, Tenchi Muyo it is my number 1. Like, it took this list to make me go, man, Tenchi's my number 1. Tenchi's my number 1 anime. I love it. Like, it took this list to do this, and you can see why I was putting it off. So if you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at Chris. Sorry, brother. Sorry, bro. Anyway. So, there you go, guys. That is my top 10 favorite anime. And like I said, this list could change on a dime if I ever do this again, like, in the future. Like, this list could easily just switch on a dime in a heartbeat. It could literally be, like, become something else in the future. It could be a totally different list. Because anime, there may be an anime I watch or discover on Tubi or some streaming site that I really love and put it on here. That's the thing. There's a shit ton of anime, and there's more anime to be made out there. Yeah. So, as always, if you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this list? And as always, tell me, let me know in the comments, what are your top 10 favorite anime? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, Chris, thank you so much for sending me this Patreon. And if you would like a Patreon request, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.